Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very worried. I think that we're going to be cursed with pollution from oil for a long time. Can you imagine if we ran out of oil and if we ran out of coal? There'd be virtually no place for us to get energy except methane from our landfills, solar, wind, hydroelectric. But we've got all this coal, all this oil, all this natural gas. If we run out of it, then we can get on to cleaner fuels. So perhaps we should hope to run out of oil. I hope we run out of oil. Then hopefully we'll run out of coal too. There can only be so much of that as well, right? I mean, how long is it going to be before we peak oil? As soon as we peak oil production, the world's going to start looking a better place. It's going to start being cleaner. We're going to have to go to cleaner fuels. Cleaner fuels will come down in price as more people are forced to adopt them. As the price of oil goes up, larger and larger markets will open up for people to sell windmills and so on. As ugly as it may be to have 1,000 windmills on the horizon, a lot of people in the world are willing to put up with that, but they're not willing to put up with smokestacks or coal mines or anything like that. Bizarre. They're willing to put up with the danger of having those massive turning wind turbines. You know, can you imagine if a kid happened to fly up 300 feet in the air somehow, jumped up on a trampoline, hit one of those things? Jesus. The birds hit him. I've heard that as an argument against them. They kill birds. Birds just fly right into those arms and kills them. Poor birds. So there's all kinds of arguments even against windmills. But the problem with windmills and solar and nuclear and all that is that we're going to be cursed with cheap oil for a long time. Like it or not, oil's going to go back down below $50 a barrel. I would wager it'll be below $25 a barrel within the next 20 years. But certainly below $50 a barrel is a safe bet. Sometime within the next 20 years. So that's our curse, is that we've got so much coal and so much oil that nuclear will not be forced on the scene. Neither will hydroelectric, or, well, I mean, do you know that hydroelectric has pretty much reached its maximum potential in most industrialized nations? Pretty much in most nations. There are some nations with a lot left of potential, but and one of the problems is they won't, you know, environmentalists are stopping us from building dams and even taking dams down, which could serve as hydroelectric power stations, and preventing new ones being built. So we got even a battle there. We should dam up every dam in the world. Every damn river, right. Dam every river, yeah, in the world. If it can provide us with you know, a source of hydroelectric power. Now, really, I don't care about the dirty air and dirty water and stuff, because the free market's gonna, you know, I care about it, but I don't think the government's the answer. The free market's gonna answer that to the extent that it's a violation of someone's rights. The government certainly is not welcome to the problem, but it is their obligation in the problem, to the extent that there's a violation of individual rights. But I guess that's our biggest fear, isn't it? That we're not going to run out of oil. The tar sand supply up in Canada that is larger in reserves than all of Saudi Arabia's oil reserves. So we're going to drain Saudi Arabia sometime, they say, in the next 40 or 50 years. Then we've got another Saudi Arabia waiting up there in Canada. Do you think there's any tar sand anywhere in Siberia? Okay, from Chapter 3, The Early Days in Oil, from the book The Rockefeller Billions. Just have a couple sentences to quote. At the time that John D. Rockefeller entered the oil industry, it was get rich quick. Everyone was frantically trying to cash in, impelled by the dread that the oil might disappear like a mirage. Earlier it talks about the tremendous resistance to the first oil drilling endeavor. They said, we're going to drill for oil and see if we can drill and hit oil somewhere in one of these oil regions. You know, Oily Creek in Pennsylvania, where there was just oil in the water. There are places where people just the oil was just no good, and it was used for medicinal purposes. The oil smelled so bad they were just sure it had some sort of use. There's just oil seeping out of the ground everywhere on this planet, people. We're not going to run out. But skipping down just a bit, it says Rockefeller was, quote, building for the future, not knowing how much oil there was underground or where. Now, the first oil strike in 1861, or in 1859, I believe, but the oil industry was going by earnest in 1861. But here we are in 1864. There was a strike at Cherry Run and Pit Hole in Pennsylvania, and Rockefeller was convinced oil was here to stay. The question was in the air clear back then. How much oil is there? We've got more proven oil reserves now than we ever have in the planet's history. We haven't totally explored all of the under ocean area, have we? We haven't even explored up in the Arctic areas. We're not allowed to. As much oil as there may be and probably is up there. Over 150 years now, we've been using oil for all kinds of purposes, and people have been worried that it's going to disappear ever since the first oil strike. And I think that we should focus our worry quite rather on, oh my God, look at how much oil there is. We can never use all this up. It's going to be a curse on us in the future as we get cheaper, cleaner technologies. People are going to continue to pump oil out in the poorer regions of the world and coal in the poorest regions of the world. These are fuels that are going to haunt us as we prosper and grow in the future. Dirty air, in spite of growing prosperity and progress, will be a curse because we can't get rid of all this goddamned oil and coal. So, perhaps the government should subsidize sport utility vehicles so we can burn up more of this oil quicker, and cut taxes on air travel, and maybe not getting the government into it. I don't know. We got to do something though to use up this oil.